Today is Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023, and this is the Dunkley Report. Donald Trump has spent a day in court for the sometimes testy start of a trial in a fraud lawsuit that could cost him control of Trump Tower and other prized properties. Outside court Monday, he called it a disgraceful trial. Democratic New York Attorney General Letitia James' lawsuit accuses the Republican ex-president and his company of deceiving banks, insurers, and others by habitually lying about his wealth in financial statements. The judge already has ruled Trump committed fraud in his business dealings. If the ruling is upheld on appeal, it could force Trump to give up several New York properties. Trump left for the day sounding buoyed after the judge suggested testimony about Trump's 2011 financial statement was beyond the legal time limit. New polling finds America's college campuses are seen as far friendlier to liberals than to conservatives when it comes to free speech. Polling from the Associated Press, Newark Center for Public Affairs Research, and the University of Chicago Forum for Free Inquiry and Expression finds 47% of adult Americans say liberals are free to express their views on college campuses, while 20% say the same of conservatives. Free speech debates have roiled campuses in recent years, with conflicts arising over conservative guest speakers. Republican lawmakers in dozens of states have proposed bills limiting public colleges from teaching topics considered divisive. The poll finds 30% of Americans say states should be allowed to restrict what state universities teach. Attorney General Merrick Garland says in an interview that he would resign if asked by President Joe Biden to take action against Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump. But he doesn't think he'll be put in that position. He said in an interview with CBS 60 Minutes aired Sunday that, "I am sure that that will not happen, but I would not do anything in that regard, and if necessary, I would resign." Garland has spoken only sparingly about the cases, but dismissed on Sunday claims by Trump and his supporters that the cases were timed to ruin his chances to be president in 2024. Former elite fencer Kirsten Hawks feels let down by the U.S. Center for Safe Sport after filing a complaint to the agency formed 6 years ago to combat sexual misconduct in Olympic sports. Since then, more than 1,900 people have been placed on its disciplinary database, a sign its efforts to corral abusers who might otherwise go unchecked have been a success. But Hawks's former coach, who she accused of forcing an unwanted kiss on her and other abuse, never went on that list. Not after Safe Sport handed him a 3-month probation, nor after the probation was overturned by an arbitrator. Hawks says her case undermined her confidence in Safe Sport's ability to protect her and others in similar situations. Donald Trump was back in Iowa to resume a fall push in the state that kicks off the Republican nomination calendar. Trump campaigned Sunday in a part of the state that he flipped from Democratic control in 2016. Trump headlined an afternoon event in Ottumwa. The small city is a hub in eastern Iowa and the seat of Wapello County. Trump later traveled with his motorcade to Layton, Iowa, where he visited a soybean farm. There, he autographed a John Deere combine and touted his administration's trade policy as a boon for farmers, even as Mexico and Canada seek to renegotiate the 2020 United States-Mexico-Canada agreement. Jimmy Carter put off his usual Sunday practice of watching church services online to instead celebrate his 99th birthday with his wife Rosalind and their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren in Plains. The gathering will take place in the same one-story structure where the Carters lived before he was first elected as a state senator in 1962. Carter's family views it as a way to honor his personal legacy, but tributes have come from around the world, with celebrities and political figures wearing Jimmy Carter 99 caps as they offer video messages to the former president. The Jimmy Carter Library and Museum and the Carter Center hosted a full weekend of festivities, including a naturalization ceremony Sunday for 99 new U.S. citizens on Sunday. U.S. health officials plan to endorse a common antibiotic as a post-sex morning-after pill that gay and bisexual men can use to avoid some increasingly common sexually transmitted diseases. The long-awaited guideline says doxycycline can prevent certain illnesses if taken within 72 hours of unprotected sex. One official says it's an innovative step to help battle record levels of STD infections. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention proposal was released Monday. The agency plans to finalize it after a 45-day public comment period. The Office of Montana's Republican Attorney General is appealing a landmark climate change ruling in which a judge said state agencies aren't doing enough to protect 16 young plaintiffs from harm caused by global warming. The Attorney General's office on Friday said it is going to appeal the August ruling by District Court Judge Kathy Seeley. She found that the Montana Environmental Policy Act violates the youth's constitutional right to a clean and healthful environment. Meanwhile, state officials are beginning a public process to consider changes to regulations under the law that are used to determine whether to approve projects that might affect the environment. A 9-year-old girl who vanished during a family camping trip in upstate New York has been found safe following a 2-day search. New York State Police said in a statement that Charlotte Sena was located Monday evening in good health and that a suspect was in custody. Governor Kathy Hochul said law enforcement officers arrested 47-year-old Craig Nelson Ross, Jr. in a trailer on his mother's property and rescued Sena, who was also in the trailer. Hochul says Ross was identified as the suspect after he left a ransom note in the mailbox at Sena's home. The governor named Ross as the suspect late Monday night, and it wasn't immediately known if he had a lawyer to comment on his behalf. Authorities say a journalist and advocate who rose from homelessness and addiction to serve as a spokesperson for Philadelphia's most vulnerable was shot and killed at his home early Monday. Police say 39-year-old Josh Kruger was shot 7 times at about 1:30 a.m. and collapsed in the street after seeking help. No arrests have been made and no weapons have been recovered. Mayor Jim Kenney says Kruger's intelligence, creativity, passion, and wit shone bright in everything that he did. Kenney says his light was dimmed much too soon. Today's news was reported by the Associated Press. This has been the top U.S. news for Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023. Thanks again for joining us at the Dunkley Report.